Runnin' with the Devil, a rock and roll adventure. Part 19. Bob then extended his left hand to Tony, and his right hand to me. Tony took his hand. I just stood there. Hold on a minute there, Bob, I said. I need some answers first. Well, ask away, my dear boy. I have nothing to hide, Bob replied. Not from you, I said to Bob. From you, and pointed to Tony. Me, Tony asked. Yeah, you, I said aggressively. I want to know why your psychotic sister was so obsessed with my friends, I said. Tony then stood up straight, still holding Bob's hand. His eyes widened, as he said, in a flat monotone voice, feeling the effects of my gift. She wanted to know how your friends could be dead and still be walking around. She wanted to know what they did, to be able to do that, so she could do it too, and not have to burn in hell, he replied. Oh, that makes sense, I guess, I said. Tony then relaxed. Now, take Bob started to say. Not yet, Bob, I replied, cutting him off. I've got one more question. What did you drug me with, and where did you get it? I asked. That is actually 2 questions, Mr. Hardsell, Bob stated. Tony then snickered. I just stared at them. Well, I said to Tony. Oh, I don't know what it was, I'm not into things like that, but Stacy was carrying it around in the glove box of her car for over a year, in case she saw you and your friends again. When Stacy and I saw you walking down the street with your friends, we came up with a plan. We were going to pull up beside the 5 of you and stop the car. Stacy was going to get out and flirt with your friends, as a distraction, while I grabbed you and threw you in the car. Luckily for us, you went into the alley to take a leak. So, she sent me in to get you. I was supposed to ask you if you wanted something to drink when you got out of the car, then put that stuff in your drink. But, we all decided on coffee, so I put it in there. I'm sorry again, Mike, Tony replied. It's okay, man. Stop apologizing, I said. Okay, Tony replied. Why didn't you just grab one of my friends, instead of grabbing me? Wouldn't that have been easier? I asked. Oh, holy hell, another question? Seriously, we'll be here all day, Bob said. Last one, Bob, I promise, I said. Bob just rolled his eyes, and sighed. It's easier to grab a person when they're by themselves, like you were, than it is when they're in a crowd, like they were, Tony replied. Are you finished? Bob asked me. Yeah, I'm done. For now, I replied. Finally. Now, let's get you back to your friends. Take my hand, and hold on tight, Bob said. I took hold of his hand. Why don't we just take Stacy's car? I still have the keys. She's not gonna need it anymore, Tony said laughing. My way is much faster, Bob replied. He then mumbled something in Latin, I believe, and suddenly I felt every molecule in my body begin to pull apart. The pain was excruciating. I closed my eyes and screamed. I heard Tony scream. Bob just laughed. After a few seconds, I felt my body slam back together, hard. I was still screaming, so was Tony. Boys, stop screaming, and open your eyes, I heard Bob say. I stopped screaming, so did Tony, as we both opened our eyes. And there we were, in the alley, on the side of B&B Music. What the fuck, Bob? That shit hurt, I yelled. Easy there, Mr. Hardsell. Remember who you're talking to. It always hurts your first time. But the more you do it, the better it feels, Bob said laughing. I just looked at him funny. Are you okay there, big boy? Bob asked Tony. Yeah, that hurt, but it was cool. Can we do it again? Tony said. Not right now, but maybe later, Bob replied. Okay, Tony said sadly and hung his head. Well, boys, I must leave you now. I have many things to do. You know, the devil's work is never done. I bid you both adieu, Bob said, snapped his fingers, and disappeared into another cloud of gray smoke. Where are we? Tony asked. Outside my friend's father's music shop, I replied. This is where we were all going when you kidnapped me. Cool. I can check out the accordions, Tony said. You play the accordion? I asked. Yeah, just like Weird Al, Tony replied. He's funny. I love Weird Al, I said. Eat it, like a surgeon, living with a hernia. Classics, I said. Yeah, my favorite is One More Minute, Tony said, 'cause that's how I felt about Stacy. Damn, dude, that's harsh, I replied. She wasn't very nice, Mike, Tony said. Suddenly, I heard 4 familiar voices, laughing and talking amongst themselves. I ran to the end of the alley. Tony followed. I turned the corner to see Derek, Corey, Ricky, and Steven. Ricky was the first to notice me. Mikey, he yelled, and came running at me. He hugged me tight, as the other 3 walked up. Dude, what happened to you? Ricky asked. We thought you got kidnapped or something, dude, Steven said. Well, it's a long story, guys, I said. Who the fuck is this guy? Derek said, pointing at Tony. Watch your mouth, kid, Tony said aggressively. Or what? Derek replied, with the same aggressiveness. Now, Tony and his 6'8", 300-pound self would have easily beat the living dog shit out of Derek and his 5'10", 130-pound self. I could not let that happen. Whoa, easy there, Tony, I said. These are my friends. That's Derek, Corey, Steven, and Ricky. Guys, this is Tony. He's our bodyguard. Bodyguard, they all said in unison. Yeah, let me tell you what happened, I said. Tell me later, dude. I'm going to check on Pops, Ricky announced and ran into the store. Okay. Long story short, I said, I went into the alley to take a piss. Tony and his psychotic sister kidnapped me. Bob rescued me, sent Stacy, his sister, to hell, and made Tony our bodyguard. We then teleported from some basement somewhere to this alley. Dude, whatever shit you're on, I want some, Corey said laughing. Seriously, that's what happened, I said. Songwriters man, Steven said, wild imaginations. Let's go check on Ricky. They all walked past Tony and I, shaking their heads and smiling. Tony and I just looked at each other, shrugged our shoulders, and then followed behind them. We walked in the store, and it was exactly the way it was before. Tony went to search for the accordions, as the four of us just stood there. After a minute or so, Ricky and his pops came walking out of the back room, with their arms around each other, smiling. Tony came back as well, accordion in hand. I found one, Mike, Tony said. Can I help you, son? Mr. Bellington said to Tony. Do you have layaway? Tony asked. I got like $20. I'm sorry, son. We don't have layaway, Mr. Bellington answered. I got you, man, I told Tony, as I pulled the wad of money out of my pocket. Hey there, Mikey, Mr. Bellington said. Hey, Mr. Bellington, I replied. How much? $275 even, he said. I put $300 on the counter, said keep it, and walked back to the guys. Thanks, Mike, Tony said smiling, like a kid on Christmas. You're welcome, man. Enjoy it, I responded. Oh, I will, he said. Richard here tells me you all got a record contract, and went to record your first album. That's great, Mr. Bellington said. Thanks, we all said in unison. It'll be out in about a week, Steven said. I'll have to get one, support my boy and all, he said. Yeah, rock and roll, Derek hollered. We gotta go, Pops, Ricky said. The owner of our record label bought the Wilhelm estate, for us to live in, and rehearse. It's about a 10-mile walk. It's gonna take a while. Hey, Mikey, don't you have a car? Mr. Bellington said. Not anymore, sir. It got towed away right before we left, I replied. You still got a driver's license, right? He asked me. I pulled my wallet out of my back pocket to check the date on my license. Yup, still good. Yes, sir, I said. Take my bus. It's a short bus, but you guys should fit in there just fine, he said. The magic bus, Ricky asked excitedly. It's okay if you don't get that reference, but I'm sure some of you will. Now, at that point, my mind flashed back to my Mustang. Nah, forget it. I'll just want a new one later, I thought. Anyway, yup. She's all yours, think of it as your first tour bus, Mr. Bellington said, and tossed the keys to Ricky, who tossed them to me. Come by tomorrow, and I'll sign the title over to you, he said. Okay, Ricky said smiling. Thanks, Pop. Thanks, Mr. B, you rock, dude. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, sir. Bye. We all said, as we walked out of the store, and around to the parking lot. In the very back of the lot, sat the bus. It was white with black trim, a little beat up, but cool as hell. It had B&B Music, where the magic happens, written on both sides, in bold black letters. We later had it repainted, the same colors, and instead of B&B Music, we had blackened image painted on the sides, in cursive letters, and used it on our first tour, till we got an actual tour bus. I still have it parked in my garage. Anyway, Ricky's dad had taken out all the seats and put bench-type seating on the sides, a small table in the middle, and a mini fridge on the back left side of the bus. Ricky said that Bob, from the hardware store in town, not the devil Bob, helped his pops build it. Thanks, Bob. Anyway, all five of us got in, plus Tony. I sat in the driver's seat, while the rest piled in the back. I fired her up, and she purred like a kitten. I reached up, and turned on the radio, which was right above the driver's seat. A country station came on. We all cringed, even Tony. I don't like that country stuff, it's too whiny, he said. We all laughed. I quickly turned the dial and found WRPM, the only rock, pop and metal station around. Ironically, they were playing Van Halen's Running with the Devil at the time. I've never been a big Van Halen fan. They had some cool songs, and some cool videos, but that's about it. Anyway, Tony began headbanging and singing along with the song. Now, seeing this big behemoth of a man, banging his head, and thrashing his body around, while mimicking playing the song on the accordion, is a sight you will never forget. Anyway, yeah man. Rock and roll, Derek said loudly, threw up the horns, and howled like a wolf. We all did the same, Tony as well. You're a pretty cool dude there, Tony, Derek said. Right guys? Yeah, we all said in unison. You're one of us now, Derek announced. Tony just smiled. I put the bus in drive, and pulled out of the parking lot, made a right, and headed to Wilhelm Estate. Everyone was laughing, and rocking out to the music. I noticed the gas gauge was on about a quarter tank, so we needed gas. I pulled into the gas station on the corner, and parked at the pumps. I'm gonna grab a couple cases of beer, and some smokes, Steven said. Me too, Ricky announced. Hey, there's Willie, Derek said to Corey. Willie was apparently their drug dealer of choice. Let's go get us some green man. Yeah, man. Let's go, Corey said. I'm gonna get a cup of coffee, and fill this puppy up, I said, tapping the dashboard of the bus. Cool, Tony said. I'm gonna grab a sandwich or something, I'm starving. We all got what we wanted, and got back on the bus. Derek had to run back in the store to get some rolling papers and a lighter. Anyway, we all got back on the bus, and started rolling down the road again. Ricky and Steven drank beer and chain smoked. Derek and Corey rolled a few joints and got toasted. I drank my coffee and drove. Tony devoured the largest Italian sub I ever seen in my life. Suddenly, a cloud of gray smoke began to fill the bus. I knew it was Bob. I pulled off on the side of the road, about a half a mile from Wilhelm Estate. The smoke cleared, and there stood Bob. Ta-da, he said, presenting himself again. Bob, what's up, Bob? Hey, Bob, Bobster, my man Bob, hi, devil guy, we all said. Greetings, my dear fellows, Bob stated. Now, before you arrive at your new residence, I must inform you of a few things. Although the mansion is quite beautiful, it has a very dark history, he said. How do you know? Steven asked. I did a little research on the property before I purchased it, Bob answered. The house is not what it may seem. There have been many successful suicides, and even more unsuccessful attempts. There's been murders, hangings, and decapitations, in the home, or on the property. The house is said to have a mind of its own. The original owners even dabbled in the black arts, performing rituals and ceremonies, offering human and animal sacrifices to me, the devil. I do not recall such things, Bob said. I got the funny feeling that he was lying about that. Anyway, so, the house is haunted, big deal, Derek said. Oh, it's much more than that. You'll see, Bob replied. Now, off we go. I put the bus in drive, and drove to the front gate of the Wilhelm Estate. There was a large iron gate, painted black, with two large black doors blocking the entrance to the property. A just as tall black iron fence surrounded the entire place. Dead trees, and shrubbery positioned along the driveway, on both sides, as well as the front yard, which was huge, both side yards, which were equally huge, and the backyard, which was absolutely humongous. The house, as Bob said, was absolutely beautiful. It was a huge light gray brick house, 3 stories high, with a conservatory, or greenhouse, serving as the entrance to the mansion. Various additions to the house lay on either side of the home, as well as the back of the house. They were different stories high, with many fireplaces and balconies. There was even what appeared to be a lighthouse built onto the house. That's kind of odd, I thought. Anyway, Bob then asked Steven to go open the gate. He got up, exited the bus, pushed the huge iron gate doors open, one at a time, got back on the bus, and sat back down. We then drove up the driveway to the house, and parked just outside the conservatory doors. We all got out, and stood there staring up at the doors, even Bob. The doors were large wooden doors, about 15 feet high, about 3 inches thick, and heavy as hell. Bob then produced a large set of keys from his suit coat pocket, found the key, and unlocked the door. Boys, welcome to your new home, Bob said, stepping back. Derek then attempted to push the doors open, but barely got them to move. Corey joined in, then Steven, then Ricky, then myself. We were all struggling. Tony then stepped up, and with one push, the doors flung open, causing us to fall to the floor. Bob then walked in, past Tony, and stepping over all of us. The smell of old dirt, must, and rotten plants slammed us directly in the face. I think we all had to hold back the vomit at that point, well except for Bob. He walked into the center of the room, spread his arms out, took a deep breath, and said, "Ah, Home Sweet Home. I love that song. A lot of people say that Motley Crue sold out when they did that song. Yeah, I dare you to say that to any one of them." Anyway, we all got up covering our mouth and noses, leaving the doors wide open, to let some fresh air in there. We all began looking around. There were tables upon tables of dead plants, in the middle of the room, and surrounding all four walls. Broken flower pots, and piles of potting soil scattered all around. Huge fluorescent lights hung from the ceiling. The windows were all covered with this slimy green-looking mess, so much so, that you couldn't even see out of them. We began to walk toward the front door of the house, stepping over the debris as we did. The front door was a normal-sized door, like you would find in any house. We all walked up the 3 or 4 rounded concrete steps leading to the door. Bob then fumbled around with the keys once again, finding another key, unlocked that door as well, and pushed it open. "Now, I must leave you all once again. Here are your keys," Bob said, handing them to me. He then reached in his suit coat pocket once again, and produced 5 more sets of identical keys, and handed them to the rest of the guys, including Tony. "I bid you all adieu," Bob said, and disappeared into yet another cloud of gray smoke. We all put the keys in our pockets. "Let's check this place out, man," Steven said. "I'm with you, dude," Derek remarked. "Wait a minute, guys," I said, "maybe we should stick together for a while. This place is huge. You could easily get lost in here, dude." "I agree with Mikey," Ricky said, "until we get the layout of the place." "Okay, sure, alright, that's cool," they all responded. We all walked through the front door into the atrium, or lobby of the house. Unlike the conservatory, which was completely trashed, and dirty as hell, the house was immaculately clean. Anyway, the atrium was a huge open area. There were dual staircases on either side of a huge 12 to 15 foot high tiger, with one claw in the air, and its mouth opened wide, like it was supposed to be swiping at you, when you walked through the door. The staircases led to a surrounding walkway, with what appeared to be a hallway, leading to the back of the house, straight ahead, as soon as you got up the stairs, and several doors, along the walkway. Several large white pillars held the walkway up from the first floor to the second floor. There was a giant-sized painting of the Last Supper, on the wall to our right, and a giant-sized painting of some hellish scene, on the wall to our left. Below each painting was a door, apparently leading to other parts of the house. "Let's go through there," Derek said, and pointed to the door on our left. We all agreed, and walked to the door. It was unlocked. Derek opened the door. We all walked into what appeared to be a study, or a library. There were large bookcases standing floor to ceiling surrounding the majority of the room, completely filled with books. A large Victorian-styled table, with an old desk lamp, and a calligraphy pen and ink, on the top, and a huge leather chair pushed underneath, sat to the left, right in front of a huge picture window. To the right, was what appeared to be a sitting area, with 4 leather chairs surrounding an old coffee table. Another door sat behind the sitting area, to the left. "Okay, it's a study. Big deal. Let's go," Derek said. We all agreed. We then walked back through the same door we just walked through, but instead of being in the atrium, we were in the kitchen. In complete shock, we all turned to go back through the door, and it was gone. "What the fuck?" we all said in unison.